This episode, we're going to explain what bidding strategies should be putting in place, how it works within sponsored products specifically. So if I go straight into it, there are 3 different bidding strategies that you can incorporate. One being fixed bids. So fixed bids is whatever you put in, that's what Amazon are likely to charge you when an ad is served in an auction. Dynamic bids down only basically allows Amazon to take a bit more control of how much you pay. So they will then try and understand from historical data what are the chances of your ad converting into a sale if they were to be placed for that sponsored placement, which we'll get into a little bit later. But so it can vary. So if they think it's less likely to turn into a sale, then they will actually cut back on how much how much you pay for that particular click. Now, with dynamic bids up and down, this is where you can actually pay slightly more per click if Amazon thinks that there's a strong chance your ad will convert. So you could pay up to 100% of what your bid is. So to actually serve for a placement, depending on what Amazon thinks. We tend to stick to dynamic bids down only or fixed bids. Up and down can just allow, it means you have less control, especially if you're adding other tools to help you with your management. And if these other tools do any type of bid automation. So this is something to certainly have in mind. So just to give you a practical example, if you went down the fixed bid approach, you would be paying $1 for top of search and all other searches. On dynamic bids down only, you'll be paying $0 to $1, depending on how likely Amazon thinks that it's going to turn into a sale. And then if you've got up and down, you're likely to be paying up to 100% for top of search and 50% higher for the other placements, which we're going to go into in a second. So like I mentioned, you really want to take control. I mean, the only example I can think of where you want to be doing dynamic bids up and down is if you have an unmanageable amount of campaigns or you don't have the resources to manage your campaigns properly. So you want to just allow Amazon to understand and figure out where to serve your ads. You'd need to have a good volume of traffic coming through as well for them to really gauge how it works. And historically, even on different platforms, we tend to find that when you do give Amazon this control, it's just more likely to spend more money. So we wouldn't advise it. We would advise actually you take control and pick either the fixed bids or the dynamic bids up down only. So now we want to look at kind of the different placements that you have. So you can have your ad serve with sponsored products within top of search, rest of search, and product pages. And this is auto campaigns and also keyword targeting and ASIN targeting. Keyword targeting and ASIN targeting terms as well. So just to give you an example of what this looks like. So when we're looking at top of search, if I put in organic odor eliminator, for example, so if we ignore this because this is a sponsored brand and look at just sponsored products, this is what is deemed as top of search. So these ads that we see here are right at the top of the search results page. And this is where you're more likely to get higher conversion rate, a number of people who actually click through to look at the product in more detail. And they tend to be more expensive. So this is top of search. And then if we look now to the next placement type, which is rest of search, this is when you just scroll down somewhat. So this is organic placement. So this isn't sponsored ads because you don't see the little sponsored sign here. So these are organic placements and these are not paid for. So this is kind of where you really want to get to. You want to get to a position where you've seen a good amount of sales for those particular terms. Amazon sees that you've historically sold well for those terms, and is the best suited to appear here organically. So that's kind of the end goal really for a lot of products, a lot of brands that sell products on Amazon. So this is rest of search. So this is kind of scrolling down somewhat. You can see rest of search of where ads can appear. These can be cheaper, and from time to time they can convert better. Again, this is sponsored product ads, so they can convert better if, for example, there are products that you promote for kids, foods that you have to eat. So just a bit more research and due diligence need to be done. So people are not necessarily going to click on and purchase what they see right at the top and buy an impulse. Or if the products are slightly more expensive, then people might scroll down and just do a bit of research to find that particular product they're looking for. So that's rest of search. And then finally, we have product pages. So with product pages, once you actually click on the ad, any given ad, it could be sponsored or organic, then you're taken to that product's detail page and where you get more information. Now, if people scroll down and decide they're not going to want to buy this product and they look here, they can see the sponsored ads here, and this is the product detail pages section here where your ads can appear, will appear on a paid ad. So this is one area where it'll appear, but if someone also then decides, okay, I like this product, Fresh Wave, I want to add it to cart, when they go to kind of the basket section here, again, like if you scroll down, there's some sponsored ads here to where your products can appear. Again, these can be a lot cheaper than appearing at top of search and rest of search. So they're likely to bring in a higher volume of traffic. And yeah, that's kind of what it looks like and where these ads appear. So something to bear in mind as well when you're adjusting the bids on placements, we have to do this on a campaign level. So you can't do this within an ad group level. So the structure of your campaigns is going to be really important, because if you have certain keywords that really convert well at top of search and you're wanting to make a bid adjustment to really appear on the top of search, for example, you want to have as much control as possible. So you want to make sure the right terms, the right types of targeting you have in place is what you're paying to appear at the top to get you those results. So ensuring you have a good structure is really, really, really important. So again, to give you an example, so if we went with the fixed or dynamic down only options in terms of the bidding strategy, if we were to put a 50% increase on the bid adjustment for top of search, and we had an example of $1 that you're prepared to pay per click, then on top of search, you could pay up to $1.50. So you're basically telling that particular campaign that actually you really do want to prioritize top of search. You can be as extreme as putting this up to 200%, 300%, 400%. And from time to time, we do that because we have seen that top of search is where the sales come in, where we convert best. Now, if you decided to have 50% at the top of search and then 0% on the rest of search and product pages, you have a bid of $1, you're likely to pay $1, or if it's dynamic down only, less than $1 to appear in those positions. So if you were to now, however, look at dynamic up and down, let's just say if you were to kind of have a 50% bid adjustment on top of search and 0% on rest of search and product pages, that $1 you use, you could potentially be paying $2.50 to appear at top of search. And this is because you have the 50% bid adjustment for that particular bid, but then you have 100% with Amazon's dynamic up and down option as well, where they could charge you more. And even if you have a 0% bid adjustment on rest of search and product pages, you could be paying up to $1.50 for these particular placements. So that's something you have to bear in mind. And this is just an example I have on this next slide of a particular campaign that we manage. And you can see here straight away in terms of the number of sales, in terms of efficiency, ACOS wise, the top of search placements is where majority of the good sales come in, paying $1.27. This is on a dynamic down only. So we know straight away that by increasing the exposure of top of search and paying more, one, we'll pay more per click on average than rest of search and product pages, and two, we're likely to get more exposure, more traffic, and ultimately more sales. So there's an opportunity here to put the placement bid up to see what that will do. So you can see straight away here the click-through rate, which is the percentage of people who make the search to actually making a click onto that product to look more in depth into that product, is a lot higher on top of search compared to rest of search and product pages. So again, campaign structure is going to be really important here when you're making these decisions as to where to increase your budgets. If you found this useful and you want to reach out to us and you want us to kind of review your account and give you some advice, firstly, you can sign up for a free PPC audit. You just scan that QR code and we will be able to give you some more understanding of where you could get more for every dollar you spend on Amazon. And if you have a high enough budget, there may be scope that with our management fee, we'll be able to help you generate more sales. We also do have a community of very savvy and innovative e-commerce brands who sell products on Amazon, and they're always giving really good, useful advice, tips and tricks on how to get the best out of everything you do with Amazon. And that's within our school community, so you can scan that QR code and find out more. Hope you found this useful, and I'll see you on the next episode.